Hi, I'm Mindy. Today I'll be giving a presentation about digital J-fashion content. I myself am a Lolita. I've been into the fashion for a little over 5 years now, and during quarantine and pandemic, I basically just went down a rabbit hole and spent a lot of time consuming all of this digital J-fashion content. And so I wanted to share some of that with you because there's a lot of content out there that I didn't know existed prior to this. I started researching this and I found even more content out there than I thought originally existed. So yeah, hope maybe there's something here, whether it's like one or two new content creators or like a different type of content that you didn't imagine before. Maybe you'll find something new. If you're brand new to J Fashion, there's a lot of resources here for you to learn more about it. If there's a particular kind of J Fashion that you haven't gotten into before, maybe there'll be something new for you as well, or maybe just a few new pieces of entertainment for you to consume. So these are some types of J Fashion. Obviously, this isn't a comprehensive list. These are the big ones that I found a lot of content for. Some of these more so than others. There's a lot of Lolita content out there, especially, and a lot of Decora and Fairy K as well. Yume Kwai Yami Kwai is a little bit harder to find. That's more of a casual style, so it's a more like everyday wear that people don't necessarily make a lot of content for. Gyaru is like a whole other beast, but there is quite a bit of Gyaru content if that's something that you're wanting to get into. And then Wafuku, Mori, and Otome are other sorts of J fashion that I have a little bit of examples of, but not a lot. One thing I wanted to share is that here I have a list, a link to Fluffy Kawaii Joe's list of influencers. And one thing I wanted to emphasize in my presentation today was that there are a lot of different kinds of influencers out there. So if you want to find someone that's more relatable to you, or you just want to diversify the type of content you consume, I highly recommend checking out this. You can see there's a lot of different options here based on the type of J fashion as well as the type of person, just some categories. And there's a lot of different options here. This isn't a super comprehensive list, but I think that Fluffy Kawaii Joe is keeping it up to date and adding more people to this all the time. So definitely check out this list so you can diversify your content consumption. So one of the most obvious forms of content is YouTube. This is long form content, anywhere from 3 minutes to an hour. YouTube videos can be both informative and also just for pure entertainment. There's a wide variety of YouTube content out there. Honestly, this is the rabbit hole that I myself went down into during quarantine. There's how-tos and makeup and hairstyle videos if you want to just learn how to like get better at that or at coordinating your outfits. There's different style guides. There's shopping guides if you want to find different places to shop. There's reviews for particular items or for a particular shopping service. There's also community guides if you're like trying to find a community to be part of. There's explanations on that, as well as like warnings or like how to interact with people type guides if that's something that you need. Those can also just be entertaining from a perspective of like story times, horror stories, stuff like that. Some of my favorite stuff is wardrobe tours that people do, just like going through all of the pieces in their wardrobe. I really like watching those type of videos. I went down this rabbit hole of watching a bunch of really old vlogs that had a lot of meets. There's also, if you're really into unboxings or haul videos, there's a lot of that, obviously, because this is a very consumption style. And there's a lot of different content. I think a lot of the content creators are actually really creative, coming up with new different types of content. So hopefully there's something out there that you can enjoy. I linked a few examples of this. There's some Fairy K examples, some Gyaru examples. I'm gonna share these slides somewhere afterwards. Hopefully you can find these, or just like pause the screen and write down some of these names. These are the channel names as far as I can tell. So if you're wanting to find some later, these are some examples. This is one of my favorite influencers, I guess. She goes a lot into sustainability, which is not something I had really considered before when I was getting into the fashion. But I watched a bunch of her videos this last year, and I find them really, really informative. She's just very knowledgeable. She like studied about fashion, so she's very knowledgeable. Some of the others we have here are Kurobayashi. If you've followed her on Instagram, she's a very famous Decora model. She has a English channel. She was updating it pretty consistently for a while. She hasn't updated in a little bit, you can see here, but still some fun content, and she's really entertaining and really adorable. Petite Madeline has some really good overviews of Mori K if you've never like heard of or gotten into the fashion before. Some really great introductions and all of that. Lou Graves is one of the best OG content creators. OG is like the print style that's the boy style version of Lolita, I guess. And they have some really great content for OGs, and they've been doing it for a long time. I think this goes back at least a few years, if not more. If you're interested in finding out about Wafuku, Billy Matsunaga is a really good example of that. Just a lot of explanations as well as different styles and different ways to wear this particular kind of fashion, which is a little bit more niche than some of the others. Honestly, the more of this content though that you consume on YouTube, the more YouTube's algorithm will recommend it to you. So it's just like a continuing cycle. That's how I ended up going down a rabbit hole. And I had to have Lolita's have its own slide. Like I said, this is kind of where I went down the rabbit hole the last year. So I have a lot of Lolita YouTube recommendations. Kombucha is one of my favorites. I mean, I did a stream with her. Just if you're interested in learning more about me, I guess. Yeah, she does a lot of really fun content and a lot of different kinds of content, not just the traditional reviews and haul videos that some YouTubers do. And she did Vlogmas, which is so during December 2020, she put out a different video every single day, which is a lot of videos. So there's a lot of content for you guys. Some other of my favorites are Kate Calamity. I really, really love some of the older videos she did where she did wardrobe tours. She's just really funny. So I find her videos very entertaining just from a comedic standpoint, I guess. And then Pearly Cutie is another really good one. Also, she's been doing really long videos recently where she goes in depth on different topics. If you're wanting to just learn more about Lolita culture, and I don't want to say drama, but kind of, if you're wanting to learn about like past dramas in the Lolita community, just to understand references people might make sometimes, Pearly Cutie does go into those quite a bit. She's been into the fashion for a while and she's done her research, so she knows quite a bit about that. Toast Chan does some really great content where she goes through where she plays Lolita Jeopardy, for instance, for example, with some others. Some really, really entertaining concepts from Toast Chan. I'm not going to go through all of these, but I guess I'll mention one more, which is Milkbox. Just very cute aesthetic videos, I think, from Milkbox. That's why I enjoyed her videos when I went through them. Sailor Moon Cafe. I want to go to the Sailor Moon Cafe. Well, like I said, I won't go through all of these individually, but high-level recommendations. Like I said, I'll try to share the slides where you can go through and find links, but also just recommend maybe jotting them any down and finding some new content creators if you have. Maybe you've heard of all of these already, but maybe you'll find one that you haven't. So I tried to focus on more like mid-level content creators that I think could use a little bit of a boost and ones that I really enjoy. So I think more people should see their content, but maybe you haven't because it seems like they don't have a lot of followers yet. So that's the type of influencer that I am trying to recommend to people at this point. Another type of content is TikTok. You've probably heard of TikTok, but if you haven't, it's basically really short videos. They're anywhere from 5 to 30 seconds. I think the limit is actually 30 seconds. Like that's the maximum they can be. Primarily, I find that they're for entertainment purposes. You can flip through them and it just goes on forever. The videos, especially for like J fashion type videos, they're usually either like cute or funny or like somehow relatable. A lot of the Lolitas talk about like people stopping them on the street asking why we're dressed like a Disney princess or a little Bo Peep or something like that. So a lot of like very memeable content, I would say, is on TikTok. There are also some TikTok people who give like really short little bits of info. So if you have a really short attention span, this would be a good place to find information, I suppose. TikTok is really good for that sort of thing. I will say personally, I tried to stay away from TikTok because I know it can be a time sink. So if you really don't want to like download the app, you can actually find TikTok compilations on YouTube, which is where I usually watch them. Just look up like Lolita fashion TikTok compilation and you'll find a bunch of them. Yeah, that's actually where I found some of these people. I'm going to click on Gemma May because she is one of my favorites. She makes really, really funny TikToks that I find entertaining. Listen.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Just really cute.
No, I don't like this. You shouldn't have done this. I have a problem with all of it. Ew, gross.
I really like some of the audios on TikTok. People just are really, really good at coming up with audio, and I like that people use them again. You like save the audio for later, and then you can make your own video to it. My understanding is that TikTok's video creation is a little bit cleaner than Instagram's because they've been doing it longer, probably. One thing I really do like about TikTok that they've done really, really well is they have really good captions. So if you don't want to like play sound, or you don't have audio, or you're deaf, their audio like caption ability is really spot on, and that works really well. I find that TikTok content is very non-audio friendly, if that makes sense.
I get overwhelmed so easily. My anxiety creeps inside of me, makes it hard to breathe. What's come over me feels like I'm somebody else. I get overwhelmed so easily.
Gotherness does some more like informational type TikToks, which is a little bit different. Cybergirl also has a YouTube channel, but her TikToks are my favorite. Her stuff is so bright and colorful. It's so good. Let's find one.
I'm once again asking, is that person really cringe, or are you just mad that someone's less insecure than you are? Thank you.
This is my outfit for today, and if you don't like it, you could leave. Okay, love you.
Jinbees is a friend of mine. Has made some really cute ones. Oh, I really like this one.
Every couple where the girl is like some type of alt and the guy isn't, the guy is a gamer.
Where's the lie? Just really cute stuff. I like this one.
Boy, I sure am stressed out. Wait, why am I stressed? This is my brain, and I can think whatever I want.
But this one, I think this one had some really cool ones. Just look at this makeup. Dang, I am impressed. I wish I could do my makeup like this. I labeled this one as Yume Kwai Yami Kwai, even though it like straddles the line between that and Fairy K. Yume Kwai is like a little bit more, or a little bit less intense. This sort of straddles the line. Shawnee Boy is another really great one. He did this really cute series about walking down the street and like kids reacting to him. Oh, I guess that's most of their videos are kids reacting. Let's see. Let's do this one. Same. But I'm enjoying looking at this content, and I want to go through all of their videos, and I probably don't have time for that. So just really cute content. Like I said, I think if I downloaded the actual TikTok app, I would probably waste so much time on it. So these are some of the TikTok people that I found just by like going through hashtags. I'm not on TikTok, so I don't know any like super famous ones. I got a few suggestions from some people who are on TikTok, but trying to stay away from it personally for the time being because I know how much time I would spend on it if I did download the app. So Instagram is probably a really obvious one that you have heard of. If you haven't, it's primarily photos, but they also have several other different features on the app at this point. They have this new feature called Reels that they're pushing really hard, which is basically TikTok. They're just trying to like take over that market, that have that feature in their app, I guess. I don't know. What I do really like about Instagram is it has a really strong social element. I really like going through people's stories because you get to learn a bit more about them personally when they like share little bits of their life, like things they see throughout the day. Also leaving comments on people to be supportive and sending DMs to respond to people's stories is really great interaction, and it's a good way to socialize, like a low impact socialization that's easy to do when you cannot go outside, which has been most of the last year. I have some tags here for some of the J fashions that I follow. Obviously this is not comprehensive, but in general the idea is to look for either the type of J fashion you're looking at. If you want to just look at J fashion in general, you can do hashtag J fashion or hashtag Japanese fashion, or Harajuku fashion is another good one. If you're looking for a specific type of J fashion, you can usually do hashtag Mori fashion, hashtag Fairy K if they have K in the name, like Decora K. That's another really great way to find them. Another good thing to do is to check out the Japanese tags. So if you translate like Lolita into Japanese and then look at that, that's more likely to have like actually Lolita fashion, whereas sometimes when you look at the Lolita tag in English, it's not always Lolita fashion. So yeah, just tips. I didn't translate all the different tags, obviously. I can believe that y'all can do that or figure it out. I also don't have examples from Instagram just because most people are on Instagram at this point, and there are so many people that I would recommend. I don't think I could choose specific ones. Just check out the hashtags would be my recommendation. If you find some people that really inspire you, definitely check out their content and follow them. But if you're just getting into J fashion, or if you're already into J fashion, you're probably already on Instagram looking at some of that content. So I won't try to like give you more examples. So this is an older type of content that you may not have realized still existed. Blogs. So blogs are actually they used to be really popular like 10 to 15 years ago when blogs were popular in general. There was a lot of J fashion blogs. It was a way for people to share information that they found just because it was so hard to find out information about J fashion at the time, because there was as much of an internationalization as there is now. But nowadays there aren't quite so many, but the ones that do still exist are really good usually. They're usually really in depth, really informative, really well written. They're the ones that like kept going because they had a following, basically, or most of them. What did you like about blogs is that this is one of the best places to find like big chunks of information, like lists of all of the brands for a particular sub-style of J fashion, definitions of different sub-styles of Lolita, or like different shops, stuff like that. I wanted to shout out Biblioteca. This is something that we at Bay Area K, some of the members started. It's basically a blog circle. So the idea is we have like themes and people can adhere to themes or not, but it's also just promoting a bunch of different types of content creators and types of blogs. Check that out if you're just looking to get started into blogs, if you're looking for more information. These are some blogs that are really in depth. They have a lot of content. Some of the ones in Biblioteca are newer, or so they don't have as much content. One I wanted to shout out was Crimson Reflections. I find that she does really, really good, in-depth, informative pieces of information. She really did a really good article about how Chinese Lolita brands slash Taobao, how they're kind of stigmatized and why they shouldn't be. So she does like more serious information like that, in addition to more like fluff, fun type pieces. So I definitely check out. Obviously, she has a lot of blog posts, so there's a lot of information here. Also, just basic information. Yeah, one of my favorite blogs. Primarily, like I said in the slide, it's primarily Lolita fashion, but she does also have content about general Japanese fashion. FEL Lolita is a really long time old school blog that's been around for a while. A lot of good content on here. Let's see. What is Lolita? Oh, they also link some other blogs down here. Some of them updated. Ooh, hey, Crimson Reflections. Cool, yeah. How to avoid being an Ida. Yeah, it's pretty legit. Good advice. Yeah, lots of good info on this one. This is a link. One of the bloggers from the Biblioteca blog circle actually did really comprehensive list of active Gyaru bloggers. So if that's the type of J fashion that you're trying to get into, this is a really good place to just find a lot of other Gyarus to learn from and to hang out with. Look at the Mori one. Aww. I really love Mori from like an aesthetic perspective, and I want to have like one or two Mori looks. Just want to go live in a forest. I understand this dream. And then we have a few others here. Wonderwell is actually a Japanese secondhand site, but they have a blog attached to the site that has a lot of information about J fashion in general. Really good general J fashion blog. The island has some really good pastel. She does really good photography. She's really cool. I don't know exactly what her blog is. Oh, she has books. Interesting. Does she actually have a blog or just books? Oh, I think these are blog posts. Yeah. These are a few really good specific blogs that I would definitely check out, but also check out Biblioteca if you're looking for another full list if you're really into blog content. So online magazines are a thing. I didn't know that actually prior to starting researching this, but they do exist. I find that they're useful for primarily brand information, stuff about advertisements for brands and things like that. Obviously, there used to be like the EGL Bible and stuff like that back in the day, like actual physical magazines, Fruits, Kira. A lot of those don't really exist anymore, but some others are trying to step into the online magazine space. So definitely check out these if you have a chance, or if you're running out of other content to consume. Look at some of these. Oh, these look really legit. This looks like it was actually created by someone who does journalism. Ooh. Tempura kits? Oh, I see. So yeah, this has a lot of good just general information from Japan. A lot of the content creators I'm linking to are actually international, which definitely consume those too. Papillon is for Gyaru, so if you're looking to get into that, they have a lot of good tips about that, a lot of good information. K Club is pretty general, but I think they're paid. I think you have to pay to get in to find their information, to actually read the information. I'm not sure what the content is like because I haven't paid for it. Also podcasts, if you're interested in more like audio content, something to listen to and from your work whenever you start going back to work. If you're commuting, usually a longer type of content, 30 minutes to an hour and a half. I've even seen some podcasts that are 2 hours or longer. It's a little bit of a time commitment, but you can also listen to them in chunks usually over time. There's a lot of podcasts on Spotify, obviously. This is where Dreamy Coordinate is. Dreamy Coordinate does more like specifically Lolita fashion type stuff, and they usually have guests that they're chatting with and getting to know. Whereas OK Podcast does have guests, but they also do like general discussions, and they go really in depth on specific. Oh, look, the Stitches was on there. That's cool. So they do a lot of information about general J fashion, basically. They go really in depth on topic. That's what I find that podcasts are really good for. It's more like a conversational, relaxed. Like think of it as if you were at a meetup or you're like having a one-on-one chat, or like a small group chat with your friends, and you're just going really in depth on a specific type of topic and sharing your experiences. That's sort of what podcasts are, and it's more like relaxed way. And if you're really lacking that type of connection, I find that podcasts are a good way to feel sort of like you have that connection, even if you're like not directly talking with these people. I also really do like that they go really in depth on a specific topic. I don't usually have the time to fully listen to podcasts, but I really wish I did. I want to go through a lot of the OK Podcast and Dreamy Coordinates podcasts because they have a lot of really good topics that I would really like to learn more about. And when I have time, I am definitely going to check them out. Next up is streams. So what you're watching now, basically. Yeah, streams can be on Twitch, on YouTube. There's a bunch of different streaming platforms. Streams are kind of similar to podcasts in that they're usually longer, like 30 minutes to an hour and a half, but they're more interactive, obviously, because they're usually live, and there's video elements, obviously. I find that streams are the best way for content creators to feel like they're really connecting with their audience. I've done a few streams on my Instagram because Instagram has that option. I should also mention Instagram has long form video as well as reels and stories and live streams. They're not the best platform for some of that content, but that type of content does exist on Instagram, so that is a good way to do it. But yeah, in general, I find streams are a really good way to feel like you're actually like getting a response, and you know people are consuming your content because you actually have that reaction. You have people like live responding to your video or your discussion. As a content consumer, it's like you can really like interact with the content creators. You can ask them questions. It's why I tend to prefer more mid-level content creators, because they're big enough that you're not like the only one watching them, and their content is usually interesting, but they're not so big that it's just like a constant stream of comments that they would never read, and they can't see it. They don't ever see your comment or whatever. Highly recommend mid-level content creators. Hopefully they don't get too big. But I think with J Fashion, most J Fashion content creators don't get super big because it's such a niche market. Obviously that's growing, but because there's also so many different kinds of J Fashion, usually the content consumers gravitate to whichever style they're the most interested in. As a content creator, I suggest having some sort of plan for streaming. Some really good examples of this I've seen are Fluffy Kawaii Joe does this like cord with me, where the people that watching her stream pick out the items for her cord, which is kind of fun. You can also just have a guest on, and you can have a chat kind of similar to a podcast, or like a podcast, have a specific topic that you're discussing. But instead of a podcast where it's just between the people conversing, you also have that live response from the audience, and you can like get more input and different opinions, and I find that really interesting. J Fashion On Demand has done a lot of different streams. Obviously, they haven't done any in a while, so I don't know how much of their old videos you can see, but you can see some of them here. Yeah, they only store like the last so however many certain amount that they show. There isn't as many streams, J Fashion streamers, I would say, which is why I don't have a specific list of specific content creators for this. Usually there's platforms with people that stream on those platforms like Instagram, or they stream on YouTube because they're a YouTuber or stuff like that. Most J Fashion influencers or content creators are not specifically just streaming usually. It's usually an additional tool for them to connect with their audience. Next is Twitter. I should preface this by saying that I am not on Twitter, but I do know that it's a really good place to follow brands, to learn about their updates. This is particularly relevant to Lolita fashion. You can follow like Angelique Pretty, Mate, all the big brands, and you can curate basically lists of those brands specifically so that you can then see exactly that. What's nice about Twitter that is different from Instagram or a lot of the other social media type places at this point is that it still retains the chronological view. Because of Instagram algorithm, you could just like miss stuff entirely if you don't have notifications turned on for it. Because Twitter is chronological, isn't less likely to happen if you're checking it every day. There's also third-party apps and stuff to where you can make like lists and streams and feed for your own specific like J Fashion content if you want to keep it separate from your other Twitter stuff that you consume. This is what I have been told. Again, I'm not personally on Twitter, but that's a suggestion. But yeah, also content creators can frequently cross-post to Twitter when they post somewhere else. They post to Twitter saying, hey, look at this new thing I made. Because you have that chronological view on Twitter, you're more likely to see it. Lastly, I just had to put a plug in there for virtual conventions, which is what you're consuming now. In particular, I know this is part of the Fanime virtual convention, but until we have in-person conventions again, for the last year, the Bay Area K, which is the group that I'm a part of, and all of these other groups have been putting on virtual J Fashion conventions, basically. Paradiso in particular is specifically for Lolitas, and I think Pretty Princess Club also is as well. But Rose Frey and Bay Area K, we've done our best to try to be inclusive of all different kinds of J Fashion, just because we like all different kinds of J Fashion, so we love to see it. Usually these virtual conventions will include panels, like the one you're watching now. One of the big things that I've been a part of is also the fashion shows or fashion walks, where people will submit their looks and then we compile them so you can watch and see a bunch of different looks at once. That's one of my favorite types of content that I like to consume and create. And then you also have tea parties or like hangout spaces, basically like virtual meetups where you can meet people from all different types of J Fashions, all different places, from all different places all over the world, honestly. And it's a really great place to meet new J Fashion people. Just for example, I will click on our website. Hi, we're Bay Area K. This is our current ongoing virtual convention, which is happening at the same time as Fanime, because originally Bay Area K was founded because Fanime didn't happen last year, and we wanted to still be able to have a place to connect with our community because we couldn't go see each other in person. So we created these virtual spaces in order for people to meet and in order for you to find other members of this community. Then Rose Foray and Pretty Princess Club both basically followed suit. They both originally were planning to host in-person events for 2020 and Paradiso as well, but obviously that didn't happen, so they've started doing virtual content as well. These are really great places to get started if you're looking to learn more about J Fashion or if you're looking to meet other members of the J Fashion community and get into it more. These are really great places to get started. Or even if you're already into it, maybe you just want to meet more people or find out about more specific things. We've done a lot of really great panels, not only one-on-one panels, but also like the history panels. So if you want to learn more about that sort of thing, these are really great places to learn. For Bay Area K, all of our old panels are on our YouTube channel as well. Probably should have linked that earlier in the list of YouTubers, but oh well. They're listed here. They're on our website, so if you want to check that as well. Hope you enjoyed this panel, and I hope you learned at least something about some new digital J fashion content or some new content creators that you can check out. I will end the recording now, and if you have any questions for me, I will be doing a live Q&A. I don't know specifically what kind of questions you'd ask, but if you have any for me, we can leave a little bit of time for that.